A prominent Georgia law enforcement officer says that he was only doing his job when he began investigating a city councilman critical of his job performance.
Now, Monroe Public Safety Director Keith Glass faces an embarrassing reprimand for his actions involving Councilmember Norman Garrett. Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis says all of this stems from Glass's field run this summer for the sheriff of Walton County.
That's right, Sine and Tom. Yeah, Glass is well known in Georgia law enforcement circles. He's a former president of the Georgia Association of Chiefs of Police. But these days he's under fire at home with his latest critic, an ex-con, who's now a determined city councilman.
If anybody's been targeted since the day after the primary, it's Keith Glass.
If I had to vote right now, I'd vote him out and wouldn't think twice about it.
For one of the few times since he became police chief here 14 years ago, Monroe Public Safety Director Keith Glass is feeling the heat. It came to a boil this summer when Glass decided to run for public office for the first time, challenging the longtime incumbent sheriff. Chief Glass would wind up losing badly to Sheriff Joe Chapman in the primary. In fact, Glass didn't win a single precinct, even here in the city. Typically, though, that would mark the end of any campaign controversies, but instead, it's just gotten more intense.
Why would you support a chief that's did everything under the sun except do what he's supposed to do?
For the city to do something.
Norman Garrett took office in January, one of 8 city council members plus the mayor who ultimately serve as the boss of Chief Glass. When council agreed to let Glass take accrued vacation time to run for sheriff instead of resigning, Garrett complained. When he heard Glass had used his city credit card to pay for thousands of dollars in restaurant visits, Garrett complained again.
To me, that is what I call reckless spending. I think had he went out and ate with his salary, he should have paid for it with his own money.
If you will find a credit card bill that you want to bring to me, and I'll sit down and go over every one of them with you.
We did. There's a lot of barbecue restaurants, a lot of visits to Longhorn.
Well, it depends on who I'm taking to dinner, and the people that I'm taking to dinner is on city business.
The city manager criticized the chief's spending decisions, but determined he had not violated policy. Eventually, the city revoked all department credit cards. But it's what Chief Glass did next that has Garrett upset to this day.
What I done was asked a simple question over a phone that became a complicated question.
Norman Garrett served time in the 1990s for stealing money orders from the postmaster in Good Hope, a town just south of Monroe. According to court records, the then 24-year-old Garrett used pepper spray on his victim, grabbed her around the neck with a chokehold, and threw her to the floor. The postmaster recounting that Garrett told her to stay on the floor or I will kill you.
Bad decision at the time, one that I paid for, but one that I had put behind me.
Garrett got his voting rights back in 2013, and in his second attempt, won a city council seat.
Your opinion, my opinion, ain't the same.
But Chief Glass said Garrett's sometimes angry challenge of authority worried his department, like when police were called to this executive session of city council, or when Garrett argued with officers after someone saw him shooting a BB gun inside the city limits.
Now, what reason was you pulling your taser out? Because you ain't felt threatened in no kind of way. I'm talking to you.
You are not doing what I asked you to do.
Glass and his assistant chief met GBI Director Vernon Keenan in Atlanta to ask, among other things, how someone with a felony conviction could still hold office.
His criticizing of me is not why I made a phone call to get clarification of what I was looking at.
Even driving down to the GBI to find out more.
It wasn't about, and then it was common questions.
He went to the GBI because he was looking for a favor.
Keenan makes no mention of a favor in this memo he wrote of the meeting. The GBI took no action. But Monroe interim city manager Ron Rabin sure did. Last month, he issued this reprimand to Chief Glass, saying, "It is clear that you did, in fact, seek to undermine Mr. Garrett's qualification to hold public office by meeting with the GBI."
And when you do things like that, not only it shows a lack of character, it shows a lack of integrity. And at this point, I don't think you have neither one.
I went down there because of his actions, not his. Look, I'm a public figure. People are going to criticize me. People are going, and just like here, while the reprimand says I violated a city policy, I say I hadn't violated a city policy.
The reprimand is not appealable, so it will remain in Chief Glass's personnel file. Despite that, his job appears to be safe. Councilman Garrett is the only member of the City Council to publicly call for his removal. And we've posted that entire reprimand on our website.
All right, Randy, thanks so much.
Thanks, Randy.